I just need a slightly longer beard, a telescope to look at the sky, and some actual questions bouncing around in my mind, and I would basically be a great philosopher. Hey, what's up guys? It's Echo YGO back at you with another video. Today I am going to be showing you my crazy take at an old deck from 2015, Stellarknight. This deck was one of the most fearsome decks in the game, and now today is barely even known by anyone. So I did what every other sane person would ever do with decks that people don't know, and I turned it into my own little take at an anti-meta deck. Now, if you are like the majority of players that don't know what Stellarknight even does anymore, don't worry, I'm going to explain the gist of what they all do for you, and there's not really many combos per se, but more of an end goal for the deck, and as it's a control deck. So today I'll basically be explaining to you what the deck does. I'll give you a profile of the deck to work with, and I'll show you a match against Sky Strikers with it, and it's because it's a very popular deck with the reintroduction of Engage. Fun and engaging gameplay, am I right? Without further ado, let's get on to it. Okay guys, so first up we're going to be talking about the main monsters of the archetype. All these monsters have an effect on the moment of their summon. It doesn't really matter how they're summoned as long as they're summoned, which includes flip summoning and pendulum summoning as well. Altair is going to be the first one up. When he is summoned, he special summons another Stellarknight from your graveyard other than himself. So you can't summon another Altair off of him, and that just makes sense. But you can only attack with Stellarknights for the rest of that turn, so that's the only little downside to it in this case. Up next is Deneb. When she is summoned, she acts like Rhoda for the rest of the Stellarknight archetype, and basically setting her up is mandatory. She is the heart and soul of the deck, and if you don't have her, you basically lose. Next is Unukalai. I think I said that right. Basically, this guy acts as a foolish burial for Stellarknights. It sends everything other than, of course, itself to the graveyard from your deck. And this is the easiest way to cheat out Deneb and summoning it off of Altair right after. Finally, we have Vega, which special summons another Stellarknight from the hand, which is the easiest way of achieving 3 Stellarknights on the field to set up your Triverr plays. Basically, you want 3 knights on the field just as a way to board wipe your opponent, and that's the entire goal of winning here. Okay, next up are the spell and traps. The only 2 relevant spell and traps is Skybridge, which is the spell card that we use that targets a Stellarknight you control. It's a quick play spell, and it special summons another from deck. After that, it shuffles the target that you had on field in place of it, but this basically helps us dodge hand traps turn 1, and it really helps just in general because the deck really struggles with like single disruptions like when they're setting up. And the setup is what's the most important about the deck. If it can't set up, it's going to struggle in the long run. The next card is Stellar Nova Alpha, and this is an in-archetype Omni-Negate that sends a Stellarknight you control to the graveyard. In turn, it negates a monster effect or a spell or trap activation and destroys it. If you destroy it, then you draw 1 card. So this is really nice for going 1-for-1 with the opponent. It's just dangerous in case a card is already changing location on activation. If it's doing that, you're not going to end up getting the draw, so you have to be careful when you're activating this. Of course, it's a really strong counter trap regardless, so it's nice to have. Okay, and so for our last 3 cards, they're going to be XZ monsters. So the first XZ is going to be Deltaros. He's going to basically only be used to destroy 1 card on the field by detaching a material. Not really amazing for today's standards, but when he leaves the field, that's his important effect. When he leaves by any means to the graveyard specifically, you can summon another Stellarknight from your hand or your deck. Your deck is what's the important part here because you can just continue your plays afterwards if he for some reason leaves. Now, paired with Gravity Controller, this is a very, very nice little thing, because if your Deltaros is on the field and for some reason you need to extend further, you can just use that XZ and go into Gravity Controller and use his effect in graveyard. Triverr is our next guy, and basically he's the win condition for your deck. When summoned, he has a mandatory effect, which means you can't not activate it. You have to activate it. to return all cards other than itself to the hand. This makes nice little loops with anti-spell fragrance and other cards, as it prevents spells altogether from your opponent only if you use the anti-spell fragrance loop. And then you can also detach a material right after to hand rip a card from your opponent, which is really nice. And then when he leaves the field, so if you for some reason are able to grab your controller the next turn, you can summon a knight from your graveyard and just keep playing next turn. Or if your opponent removes him, you can play during your opponent's turn. The only really downside to Triverr is that you can only summon Tellarknights on the turn you summon him, and that's the only thing that's a downside to him, because you're playing a Tellarknight deck anyways, and this causes broken loops. But otherwise, yeah, he's basically a win condition. The final guy is Tellarknight Batlamius. I think I said that right. And basically he's the easiest way to cheat out the other two Xyz, because he requires only 2 Xyz materials, not 3, which oftentimes you're only stuck with 2 anyways. And basically when you summon him, you can detach a material and discard another card in your hand, and then summon any other Tellarknight Xyz out, and that basically counts as an Xyz summon. All the summoning conditions have to be met still, so if you're trying to summon Triverr, you still have to only summon Tellarknight monsters that turn. You can't do something else. And that's all it's really needed for in essence, but he doesn't come up nearly as much as you think. Okay, so here is the deck profile for this. As you can see, I'm playing 9 hand traps in this deck, so this doesn't have a lot of room, but it's got enough room for the format to where you can compete with enough hand traps going second. As you can see, this is a very heavy trap lineup. 16 traps and 8 spells. And the monsters are pretty much there. The one monster I did not discuss is Stellarknight Sirius, and basically he creates infinite loops of resources. When he's summoned, you can target 5 Tellarknight monsters and shuffle them into the deck and then draw a card. So he just continues to recycle your stuff and creates a real nice grind game. But as you can see, everything else is relatively standard. I choose to play back to the front because Call of the Haunted, your monsters don't get their effects if they hit the field and then immediately leave the field because your opponent like Cosmic Cycloned it. So that made it really unfortunate when you're playing Call of the Haunted, so I started using back to the front so my monster would stay on the board and they would waste their resources. In general, it works very nicely and it summons it in defense, so there's nothing to really complain about. I use anti-spell and Imperial Order in the main deck because this deck doesn't really need spells too hard other than like the first turn. And I mean, Skybridge is nice, but like it doesn't always come up, obviously. Side deck, I'm not going to really explain too hardcore. It's a lot of going second stuff where your opponent can't really hate you on back row. As for the extra deck, Abyss Dweller we can abuse pretty nicely. Bujinte Tsukiyomi is a nice draw 2 card in case you need it, because not always do we have a really amazing hand, but we can summon a rank 4, so we can do that. Zeus, self-explanatory. The Tellarknight Xyz is pretty self-explanatory. Gravity Controller, I already explained its use. Gallon Granite is nice because we can just search Nibiru and put pressure on the opponent. We use number 101 because it's multi-use. It's a rank 4 that can steal your opponent's card, so monster, and attach it as material, which is nice to have like a Cyber Dragon Infinity like effect. But not only that, if it would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material instead. So basically you can go into battle and then summon Zeus using this thing and board wipe your opponent. The only other card that really needs explaining is Stellarknight Constellar Diamond. I only play it because you can, and when your opponent's using a dark deck, this is really nice. So during either player's turn, when you're using it, your opponent's dark monster activates an effect, can detach a material and negate the activation and destroy it, which is really nice, especially when Sky Striker's Ray is a dark. But otherwise, yeah, this guy doesn't do much other than that. And yeah, I think you guys understand the gist of the deck. Now on to the replay. Okay, so I'm going to win RPS in this case. I'm playing Tellarknights, he's playing Sky Striker. I'm going to activate Prosperity, add Imperial Order to hand because the others weren't as necessary, and I'm going to set 2 pass. He's going to activate Area 0, I'm going to use Imperial Order, and now I'm just going to basically beat down him. This is really funny because I just keep getting hit with hand traps, but I just keep beating him down because Imperial Order is just an unfair card against Sky Striker. I didn't know he was playing Sky Striker really, actually, until it happened. Now he tries to use Nightmare Phoenix, and this is where Alpha came in handy. I got to just search, and now I get to keep going off. I get to summon Triverr, bounce everything he has to hand, and now I just hand rip from him and just basically win by continuing to loop. See right here, I can just use my spells whenever I want, while he can't use them at all because I just can Triverr loop him, and he's going to just lose to me set 3 pass. Triverr is the most unfair part about this deck, and this is where, yeah, he can't do anything. He didn't have enough spells in his graveyard to steal my Triverr. At this point, I'm going to use Skybridge in game 2 to search out Deneb, set 1 pass. I had Imperial Order again. I got lucky, and he had Twin Twisters, so he got lucky too. He's going to use Engage, do all his shenanigans. At this point, he is way more advantage than I do. And he's going to just keep playing. At this point, he's going to Shizuku, then use multi-roll and just keep playing. I'm going to try to play, but he's going to basically double Widow Anchor me and make me cry. Right here, I misplayed by not chaining Pankratops, but that's alright. I'm going to probably lose this game anyways. Right here, yeah. I'm basically going to lose at this point, and he's going to just keep going off. Because Widow Anchor is actually a very painful card against me when I don't have any backup. So he's just going to keep doing the same stuff, and yeah. Engage is a broken card. He's just going to activate Engage. I'm going to attempt to negate, and then I'm going to draw, but it's not going to matter. He's going to just win here. Continuing on. Yeah, he just has enough for game right here. I don't know why he keeps going, but he does. So I'm going to go second game 3, and it's going to be funny here. So he's going to basically go full combo with Strikers, no hitch to it. He's going to just set 3 and search. I'm going to go top deck, banish 6 with Prosperity, search evenly matched, and then put the rest back. He has no way to actually prevent me from hitting him with evenly, so he's just going to banish everything but his monster. I'm going to set 4, summon 1 pass. We're going to use Alpha, and then we're going to negate his summon with Solemn Strike. He's going to set 1 pass. I'm going to attack with Vega, and we're just going to use Skybridge to summon Deneb, search Altair, and poke for another 15. So as you can see, what I was saying, the deck is very much just loop the same 3 cards over and over, and it's very consistent at doing so. I'm going to use Triverr, and once you have Triverr out, you basically have already gotten game. If you can summon Triverr, they're in big trouble. See right here, I'm actually misplaying a little bit by doing that, because I can't summon Gravity Controller on that turn. But it didn't matter in the long run, because I was going to be able to keep doing stuff anyways during his turn, and he wasn't going to be able to do anything about it. If he killed my Triverr by any chance, he would have lost anyways, so we're just, yeah. Thank you, Mitt, for being a good sport and dueling this, but yeah. Okay guys, so if you guys enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe down. Tell me what you think down below, and I will see you guys later. Hopefully you like the deck. Peace. Hey guys, I just wanted to say one last thing. If you want to check out one of my more popular videos, that would be the video on the left, and if you want to check out one of my more recent videos, that video will be on the right. I will see you guys soon. Peace.